Since you've seen a lot of the world and a lot of the banking industry coming from a mathematics perspective, like what advice or suggestions might you have for current mathematics students at Iowa State University?
Take math as a major to be able later on to choose any specialty to work for. My suggestion to the students would be that to study math as deeper as possible, and it's not about numbers and functions or I don't know other things. It's just about real life.
Greetings. Welcome to Eric's Angle, the podcast for Iowa State mathematics students. I am your host, Eric Weber, chair of the mathematics department. Today's guest earned a Master's of Science in Mathematics degree from us in 2003. He is Seyran Sargsyan, and he is now the CEO of UBPay in Armenia. Notably, he has worked in both the banking and risk management industries in both the United States and Armenia. Please welcome Seyran Sargsyan. Hi, Seyran. Thanks for joining me on Eric's Angle.
Good morning, Eric.
So tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay, thank you. First, thank you for this for the invitation, and uh, and I said returning. It's a pleasure to reconnect with Iowa State University, and it was already 21 years that I have graduated the university, and returning to the mathematics the department feels like meeting an old friend. And so actually, my story, it looks like it's a little bit unusual story. Why? Because I think that when I left for Iowa, I wasn't 18. I was already 13 years old. So, and I had already my bachelor and master degrees in Armenia. And then I did have some experience doing some graduate studies in Armenia, and at the same time I have worked for the banking years for about 5 years. And then so coming to Iowa, living already established life, careers, responsibilities, everything, and suddenly sitting with again with 18 years old, it's kind of major life reset. So it wasn't easy for me, but anyway, I remember that I was celebrating my 30 years old at in Ames with my friends. So yeah, I think it's not a typical ISU student experience, celebrating 13 years, right? Most of the students are young, 18, 20 years old. So it's a um, and after graduation, I have some time to work for the Bank of America and Global Payments. It's also financial institution in Iowa, in US. So it opened a completely different world for financial system to me. So when I originally came to Iowa State University, I was pursuing a PhD, and I remember that I had more than 53 credits, but because of the personal circumstances, I had to start working early, and I changed my program to a master's program, and I got it by the way because I had much more credits than it requires. If I'm not mistaken, they were requiring 32, 34 credits, but I had more than 53. So it was a kind of defining moment in my life. And looking back, ISU gave me the missing bridge between mathematics and the financial leadership work that I ended up doing for the next 20 plus years. So this much at this point. I mean, we can go in detail if you would like.
Yeah, so how did you end up finding Iowa State University?
Um, I remember that there was a kind of cooperation between the university and our Armenian National Science Academy, and I remember that there were a few representatives visited Armenia, and we had meetings, etc. So I got information about the university, and then later on I applied to the university, and I got a teaching assistantship, so I was able to attend the university.
I have not heard of this partnership. I'll have to see if we still have it. I would hope that we do, and if we don't, maybe we can reform that partnership with the scientific
Yeah, that would be
academy
just
there.
great. I remember that between the frame of this partnership, there were a few students visiting to Iowa State University. At least I know two, three of them.
Yeah. So you mentioned that before you came, you had some experience in the banking industry there in Armenia, and then you came
Correct.
here for your master's, and then you had some experience working at a large bank in the United
Mhm.
States. So, like, tell us a little bit about how your banking experience, both before and after, tied together with your studies in mathematics.
Uh, yeah, um, you know, when I graduated the university in Armenia, the first job that I got it was in the banking sector, and I was kind of looking to find an experience where I can use my math knowledge, math experience to use it, and where I can apply mathematics. And the financial sector, it was a really good match to this. And what happens is that I never left the academy side, and I was continuing studying and working at the same time. And I was kind of lucky because in my career, I always ended up working on project and required building something new. And for example, in Armenia, I was kind of participated and have a really, it was kind of uh, I'm happy that I had this chance to participate in creating National Payment Processing Center in Armenia. And then I was leading a project that first time in Armenia, one of the banks become a principal member of MasterCard. And then I participated, I was for many years, for 18 years later on, as a CEO of the Banking Association, and now again, I am CEO of the National Money Transfer System. We are kind of again creating a new money transfer system. So in all of these cases, the analytical discipline of mathematics helped me tremendously, and math taught me how to take a complex, messy problem, break it down, and find structure. And find the solutions where others see hows, etc. So even though my early education wasn't in finance or economics, but math gave me the competitive edge so much that I later took economics courses even at Iowa State University. When I was doing my master degree, I took a few courses in from economics department. I remember there were courses like microeconomics, microeconomics, and econometrics, where again you need to use a lot of math knowledge. So yeah,
And your studies prior to working in the banking industry, were you studying mathematics at at the undergraduate level there in Armenia?
correct. Yeah.
And so when you first became a math student, at that time, presumably you didn't really have any work experience. So I'm wondering, even at that time, did you have some sense of what you wanted to do with a mathematics education?
Oh, yeah. To tell the truth, Armenia was a member of the former Soviet Union. Just you, I wanna you know that. And when the Soviet Union collapsed, we didn't have this many majors at the universities like we
Mm,
do have now. And
yes.
it was like majors in physics, chemistry, economics, etc. The classic ones. But so I was looking kind of a major where I would like to use math, but at the same time like applications of math. So that's why I have all and the on the other side I like the financial sector as well. So and it was kind of coming it was something new for the country because the financial system and the economics was totally different before during the Soviet Union time. So it was really interesting for us, something new. So that's why I was and up till now I'm trying to find areas where I can use my math and math applications in other sectors. So yeah, I guess that was one of the reasons that I kind of looking where I can use uh, math knowledge and math experience to solve problems in real life.
Mm, that's fascinating. I guess I hadn't really put the timeline together that you've seen um, economics from the Soviet Union and then now
Mhm.
in more of a free market environment. So you must have a really different perspective from a lot of us just in the United States, say, studying economics and finance and mathematics and the intersection of all of these things. So,
Yes, correct. When I came to US and I remember that there were so many things that was really new for me, and I was so often surprised seeing I don't know the social life or the how the economics, the banks are working, etc. And to tell the truth, this year, this summer, actually, I took my children to US, and we were again coming back and enjoying, and I kind of. Did have nostalgia about US and as a tourist, and I noticed that they are not that much surprised what they see, etc. Because it's our economies are already look like alike, and and but at that time it was really different. So I was kind of becoming from differently, totally different from different world to a new world, and it was kind of a really life-changing experience.
mm, that's fantastic. I mean, I like hearing that story. So I'm wondering, since you've seen a lot of the world and a lot of the banking industry coming from a mathematics perspective, like what advice or suggestions might you have for current mathematics students at Iowa State University?
Oh, uh, uh, as I mentioned, I should say that in somehow I succeeded in financial sector, but and even not having financial or economical education, but the mathematics, the analytical thinking of and thinking helped me to succeed whatever I do, and and until now uh, and until now, whatever I do it as a mathematician, not as a financial representative. So, and even my son, he is asking when we are talking like what major to choose, is etc. I'm saying I don't know, or I don't know what would be in the future the succeed the main major that will people succeeding, but but if you would like to be able to choose any major or any specialty, now you need to have the good background, and I'm suggesting him to take math as a major to be able later on to choose any specialty to work for. So my suggestion to the students would be that to study math as deeper as possible, and it's not about numbers and functions or I don't know other things. It's just about real life, and right now I'm using math like I'm trying to find correlations between different kind of indicators, and I'm trying to find functions between different type of processes, and using the same methods to solve these problems. So I think that they did a really good choice to pick a major math, and I believe they will succeed in the future.
Well, I certainly would like to think that they're going to succeed in the future. Absolutely. We know that they're well positioned to have problem solving and analytical skills.
Mhm.
Sometimes our students wonder what are the career opportunities with a math degree. And part of this channel, part of this YouTube channel, is meant to give students a sense of what are the options out there, what are the possibilities. And I noticed on your
Uh,
go ahead.
yeah, I just remembered one. I remember when, again, coming back to 1990s, when Soviet Union collapsed. So at that time, at the universities, we didn't have, for example, major like politicians or people who leads governments, etc., etc. And the first government that we did have in Armenia, most of them were from math department and physics. I remember that some of our professors later on become members of the government. So because they are more flexible, they know how to again to take a big problem and divide into pieces and solve each problem, etc. So that's why and I bring this example to my children as well, because when you do have this analytical thinking, you can do whatever you like.
Yes. So I noticed on your LinkedIn profile, I think it mentions risk management, like something that you've done. And the business college here at Iowa State University has recently introduced a new, they call it a certificate in risk management and insurance. And I've been thinking it might be good for our math majors to check out that program in terms of giving them a sense of the type of career they might follow after finishing a mathematics degree. So can you say a little bit about your experience there?
Um, Actually, yeah. Sometimes young people they think that working for the financial system or for the banks, it's just dealing with money. I should say that I never saw money and I never worked with money. And what I did, for example, at the bank, sometimes it's again, for example, risk management or other analytical departments. They do have research departments, and where people again doing even scientific level work, and they working with the big data, they working with statistical data, with financial data, and they need to analyze it, summarize it, and find the correlation between different kind of indexes, and to measure some risk, to monitor the risk, and to find the solutions how to manage the risks. So it's really interesting, and the knowledge in med that people do have, it would help them to do it. And the good risk managers, the good senior managers, they most of them have well math knowledge as well, and it would help them to succeed for becoming a good banker. So yeah, that's really interesting, and I like doing it. And also, I would like bring my experience when I was at the banking association. We have preparing all the banking data, again summing up monitoring the trends, how the indicators are changing, comparing, trying to make some predictions for the upcoming year. So it's a all that you can use your math knowledge to solve these problems, or to find solutions, to find answers to these questions. So yeah, did I answer to your question?
Yes,
Sorry.
and so one thing that I've started thinking about in this regard is that the idea of risk management probably goes beyond just the banking system
True.
or insurance companies. I would think that this probably is something that many large corporations and many large institutions have groups, like you mentioned, even research groups working in this area. And and so perhaps the part of the point is that there are opportunities for math students in places that they wouldn't normally look because they wouldn't think a particular type of corporation would be interested in mathematicians. But if they are large and they deal with a lot of data, they deal with risk, right? These have opportunities here. So
Oh, for sure. See, since the world become more digital, and it means that they are collecting more data. And the banks, the big corporation, they do have big data, and they need someone to work with this data. They have financial questions, and to answer them, they need people who will be able to analyze this data, who will be to summarize and visualize and present in a very simple way to them, to allow them to make correct and best decisions related to the finance. And yeah, the good managers, they never make decisions but without this information that's coming from the risk manager or from this research group. And they have, and actually and they actually earning a lot of money, because not everyone can do this job. So yeah, it's a good and interesting path for the career. So I would suggest, that's what I like to do, and I did most of my life, and I enjoy doing it. So I would suggest some of them to try to go to this direction as well, because everyone right now trying to go other. But the financial system, whatever is talking, that people talking that they would be changed, etc. But there are basics that I believe it would really last for many years still.
so since we're talking here, I guess I'm a little maybe done with the formal interview, but I'm very curious. So you are the CEO of a payment transfer company there in Armenia. How does one go about starting such a company?
Oh wow! Everything starts from the paperwork.
Yes.
What I mean is, what I mean is that first we got the license from the central bank, and Armenia, uh, uh, we do have a really huge diaspora all over the world,
Hmm.
and we do have, for example, many Armenians living in Los Angeles. There are more than 1 or up to 2 million Armenians living there. And we do have more Armenians living outside of the Armenia than in Armenia. This is something specific about the Armenians. So what I want to say is that transfer from abroad to Armenia and from Armenia to abroad, it's a really big issue for our economy, and it's a very important issue for our population because most of the people living what they get as a remittance is from abroad. Their family member working outside of the Armenia and sending money to them, and it's a really important sector of the economy. And since because of the recent years restrictions that came in the world, it become a little bit complicated to make transfer from one country to another country, etc. So that's why we decided to create a national money transfer system to let our population to be able to send money to any country and to be able to receive money from any country. So we are already 1 year old, and what we do is that we have already many international partners that through them we are sending and receiving money. At the same time, we have almost all the banking banks, all the banks are our members, and many payment systems became our members, and we are right now having almost 40% of the shares in the market. And and we have a few more expectations to have more cooperations and more enlarging our geography all over the world. And I like when we create something new, and I'm still enjoying what we do.
Mm. Well, Seyran, this has been a fascinating discussion. It sounds like you have a lot of fun. You enjoy your work immensely using your mathematical skills, and we always like to hear that from people that have gotten their degree from Iowa State University in mathematics. So thank you again for joining me today.
Thank you again for inviting me and for giving me the chance to reconnect with the university. And it was a really pleasure talking to you. And I would like to stay connected with the university, and be happy to talk to you again anytime. Yeah.